It's sort of like a POV, I'm holding you hostage for the next 20-25 minutes situation where I'm just making you listen to all of the things I'm really excited about for fashion in 2025. Caroline, welcome back to my channel. While this year has felt like it's already been off to quite the dramatic start, I figured let's get some fun, let's get some excitement going and talk about things that I'm at least excited for regarding fashion in this upcoming year. I might feel like I'm not able to control anything around me, but I can at least control the outfits that I'm wearing every day and things in fashion I'm liking and saving on my Pinterest. Pull out my laptop, that's what we always know. Serious business is about to happen. Let's just get right into this, starting off with the first thing, which is paisley print. As a woman that possesses an affinity for 70s fashion, as well as I love anything kind of bohemian, eclectic, maximalist leaning, paisley is right up my alley. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to be trend predicting in this video, however, when it comes to 2025, and particularly the rise of boho chic, which I will be talking about later in this video actually, but the way that paisley relates to that boho chic style, it just makes sense that I do think we're going to be starting to see a lot more of this, which I personally am ecstatic about. Whether it is just a pop of paisley with a headscarf or a bag, or we're doing like a full-on paisley skirt, a dress, maybe even paisley on paisley, I just think honestly it's really cool. Although the way that I engage with paisley is definitely a lot more in that kind of 70s, almost boho folky kind of way, I do think that we saw in the late 90s, early 2000s, paisley kind of come back in to the trend cycle as things tend to do every decade or so, and there were a lot of cool, really like Y2K interpretations of it that I feel like makes this a print that can work for a lot of different people who have a lot of different styles and aesthetics that they're drawn to. Chartreuse, anything and everything. I know, what was it, the Pantone color of the year that came out, and they predicted for 2025 that like mocha mousse, aka brown, was gonna be in. I'm really happy for everybody who's excited about that, but for me personally, the color of 2025 is gonna be chartreuse, especially when it comes to fashion. To me, the color chartreuse is the equivalent of taking a shot of espresso. I see it and I'm instantly just like awoken. It's very rich and vibrant. I'm awake, hi, hello, whether I see somebody else wearing it or I myself am wearing it. It just puts me in a good mood, gives a little extra pep in my step. I was recently at a coffee shop actually, and the barista was wearing a top that was in the shade of chartreuse, and I was like, oh my god. I first off want your top, I also want to be friends with you, I also want to go home and dye everything I own the color chartreuse. Definitely feels like something where it's either you like it and you get it, or you really don't. And me being an Aquarius with an annoying individuality complex, that's the sort of thing that I just eat right up. Almost all of my recent saves on Pinterest have been photos involving some sort of unique, funky looking pearls, whether it is cool pearl jewelry or some sort of belt, tying them around your bag, or even in your hair, whether it's a hair accessory, or I've seen some people putting pearls on strings and braiding them into their hair. I am obsessed. In theory, pearls are something that I've always really liked, but in the more kind of classic and traditional sense of them, where it's someone just wearing a string of pearls around their neck and it's more simple, I can appreciate it from afar, but it's just not really my style. However, seeing these very like unique different shapes of pearls and colors and all mixed together, and the wearing them in ways that aren't super traditional, I think it's just so fun and does feel a lot like me. The vibe is very Ariel from The Little Mermaid, but if she went to fashion school in New York. Right? This does definitely feel like something a little more geared towards summer fashion. However, I'm in LA where it's 75 and sunny pretty much all year round, but also this is very DIY and crafty, which a lot of my friends got really into making jewelry last year, and it was super inspiring. I wasn't inspired enough to try it out for myself, but maybe this will be the push that I need to finally get into making my jewelry, and I can do it with all my fun, unique pearls, and then when summer does come around, I can actually say, fuck it with the funky pearl necklace, my whole outfit will just be funky pearls. Like, that's literally just the whole look. I'll just be draped in funky cool pearls. Alright, and now I want to take a little break to talk about still a current love of mine, but instead of a fashion love, it's a hair love, and that is Kitch, who is actually the sponsor of this video. Kitch is a female-owned self-care and accessories brand who I have been trying out some of their hair products over the past couple of weeks, and y'all know, I don't play about a couple of things. Fashion, the climate, and my hair being kind of at the top of the list. Their products are both vegan and cruelty-free, as well as not having any plastic, which one of the things I really wanted to work on in 2025 was trying to reduce my single-use plastic as much as possible, and beauty products is a really big area that I needed to work on with that. They have a shower caddy and the self-draining soap dish that you can just stick to your shower walls, and so it makes it really easy and convenient to store their shampoo and conditioner bars. Their bars are formulated with rice water to help repair damaged hair follicles and prevent split ends, as well as cleanse and condition your hair. Let me tell you, this scalp is prone to product buildup, especially because I can sometimes go a little bit longer than maybe recommended between hair washes, but since using these shampoo and conditioning bars, I've not experienced any problem with product buildup in my scalp or any kind of flakiness. My hair feels so clean, but it also still feels hydrated and shiny, which is something I really look for in my hair products. My hair is wavy, as well as being prone to a lot of dryness as well as frizz, and so using products on it that I feel like help improve its natural texture and target all of those things is really important to me. Just so happens that Kitch does that. So it's good for my hair, it's good for the environment. It also makes my hair look better, as well as the products being cute and free of silicones, sulfates, and parabens. We're checking all the boxes here. So if you want to check out Kitch for yourself, of course, I have a code for you. It's Caroline Tucker, or you can click the QR code up on the screen to get 25% off site-wide. Kitch ships in the US as well as to over 90 countries internationally, as well as having a subscription service where you can get even more of a discount if you're interested. But if you just want to use my discount code Caroline20 at checkout, you can get one of their bars for under $11, and you could get a shampoo and conditioner set for under $21. Thank you to Kitch for working with me on this video. I have actually been a big fan of their brand for a while, and so getting this email and opportunity was very exciting because, I mean, again, what is more me than good hair and good for the environment, as well as fashion? Medieval core, Renaissance fair-esque ways of dressing. This is not the first time I've talked about this on my channel, and will certainly not be the last. Back in September, I think it was, I made a video talking about things trending for fall 2024, and I brought up medieval core and I went more in depth about it, and some people in the comments were receptive to my message, and other people were like, I don't know girl, this seems like wishful thinking. And I've been actually talking to anybody willing to listen about the rise of medieval fashion for the past year and a half. And all I'm gonna say is, seeing this past month more and more people talking about how medieval fashion is upon us, I do feel vindicated. Fellow period piece lovers, we are so up. What's really so appealing and stands out with this style for me, though, beyond the fact that I am a lover of period pieces, is the fact that it actually feels very wearable, in the sense of like, we have some 90s whimsy goth influence meets the kind of 70s witchy vibe, but there's also a bit of that 2010s boho that's all wrapped up in this aesthetic, along with, of course, there was a medieval revival in the late 60s and early 70s that takes these pieces that you would see maybe somebody wear in a period piece set in the 1600s, but it reinterprets it in a way that feels a lot more wearable, so I don't look like I'm going to Trader Joe's in like a Renaissance fair cosplay ball gown. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's your vibe, you stand tall and own your truth, my love, but for me this just feels like something that is a lot more accessible, and I am obsessed with it. Since I did already talk and go into more detail about this in that fall 2024 trends video, you can check it out if you want to. It'll be linked down below. I do want to give a special shout out to some of my main style inspos for this kind of medieval Renaissance vibe, starting off with not only like my top style inspo for this way of dressing, but just in general overall, which is Florence Welch, aka Florence and the Machine. What Hailey Bieber and Kendall Jenner are for some fashion girls is what Florence Welch is to me and my style. I mean, her ability to pair a piece that's very antique, Renaissance inspired with something more kind of 70s, cool, eclectic, boho, it is quite literally the perfect combination that is so pleasing to my brain. I mean, obviously she inspires me in more ways than one. Clock the hair, but that is, I mean, I would give her my firstborn child. I love her so much. I don't even want kids, but I would have one just to give it to her. I'm sure most of you already know about her, but if for whatever reason you didn't, please get familiar with the sacred text. Give her the respect she deserves, as well as these other three people. The next one also being a singer, which is FKA Twigs. A little bit edgier than Florence the Machine, but still, I mean, the music, 11 out of 10. The looks, 11 out of 10. I've literally never seen her in a bad outfit. Mina Lay is my next one. She is my favorite YouTuber. I'm sure a lot of you know about Miss Mina, but her style is just period piece inspired perfection. And then lastly is probably the most underrated of this entire group, and that is Coria Walters. It's up on the screen for you to see, but she is actually an antique and vintage seller, and every single one of her outfits, I literally am foaming at the mouth, panting at my screen. I need to take a lap because I get the zoomies seeing one of her look around my house. Like, it is truly diabolical. I love her style so much. The things I would do to raid her wardrobe, it's sick. Calling out the current state of the trend cycle and conversations around micro trends, especially how we engage with them online. Obviously, this is a little bit different than the things I've previously talked about, but it still very much pertains to fashion. If you have watched literally any of my content before, then you're already well aware that I am the first to try to bring up and bring attention to the current state of the trend cycle and consumerism. And maybe I will acknowledge this is the fact that we kind of exist in these echo chambers online, but I do feel like I've been seeing a lot more as of recent other people wanting to have conversations about this stuff, and it makes me excited and hopeful for where these conversations will go throughout 2025. Warning, this is going to be corny, but also so real, and that's the fact that I think the most fashionable thing a person can do is engage in fashion in a mindful way, and encouraging other people to do that. It's something that I have really tried to put at kind of the forefront of my social media and especially this YouTube channel the past year, and I'm definitely going to continue doing that in 2025. And maybe this is actually wishful thinking, that I am hoping other people will start to want to rethink and re-engage with the ways that they are engaging with fashion and consuming and all that. I mean, like, this is actually insane that we just like all think that this is normal and this amount of consumption is like okay. So yeah, unconventional placements of buttons, and really just buttons in general, are very big for me at the moment. I actually mentioned this in my fashion ins and outs for 2025 video, but since posting that, I have only been more inundated with content around styling buttons unconventionally, whether it's on the collar of a shirt, the bottom of a sleeve, putting them on hats. I am just so obsessed, and also this is yet again another opportunity to get crafty, which I'm always gonna love. I've noticed myself paying just more attention to buttons overall though. I was actually out a couple days ago and I saw this girl wearing a green cardigan, and the buttons on the cardigan were all really tiny and multicolored. They were like pink and blue and orange, and it made me want to come home, go to my closet and find a cardigan to swap all of the more plain simple buttons out with something fun. I am just obsessed. I'm also so into really big oversized chunky buttons at the moment. Looks like I have myself another project to add to my ever-growing list of projects just in this video alone. Please don't ask me when I plan to get around to them though. Vintage French workwear, but specifically chore coats, have been a fixation of mine for easily over a year now, and while I have yet to get my hands on one of my very own, I'm telling you, 2025 is the year I finally add a chore coat to my wardrobe. There's the shade of blue that a lot of vintage workwear comes in, and I keep imagining in my head pairing that with like an all white antique dress and a little flat or boot in the spring, summertime, all my gold jewelry, my sunglasses, my little basket bag, and I need it so bad. But also one of those jackets with like a matching pant is also a look. It's also like the one time I'll give credit to a man where credit is due, okay? If he's pulling up in some vintage French workwear, I'm like, all right, you did what needed to be done. I will give you that much. Now, would I look better in the vintage workwear that you're wearing? Well, yes, of course, but you don't look too bad, okay? I said it. When I tell you that following older women online who are into fashion, but like especially on Instagram, was such a game changer for me. Probably a year and a half ago, I was going through my following list and realized there was an alarmingly low amount of people over the age of 35 that I was following. And it was definitely this mix of me being both naive as well as ignorant, not realizing there was this like incredible fashion community of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s just posting the sickest outfit content I've ever seen. I literally felt like I struck gold. I was like, how am I just now discovering this? Just in general, but I think especially online, people who are older are often undervalued and overlooked. And I'm not saying 40, 50, 60 is old, but it's older than, you know, me at 27, who even I sometimes feel like the fucking crypt keeper posting my outfits on Instagram, because it almost feels like this just like inundation of people who are in their late teens, early 20s that I'm often seeing a lot of style inspo from, or what's being fed to me through my feed, and I think just as especially a woman, this idea of aging and feeling like there's this like quote unquote expiration date and we are so undervalued, it was really empowering and exciting to come across all of these women who have fostered these communities and are like genuinely the coolest people ever. I'm like, I want to be like you when I grow up. Like, it doesn't make me scared to age, it makes me excited because I'm just gonna get cooler with every single year that passes by. I've been keeping up with these communities, but it's something I only want to continue to do even more in 2025 and also find a lot more cool older people to follow. And so if you have any recs, please let me know in the comments down below, because I mean, I'm here, pull up my phone, get my finger ready to go to work, okay? Mohare, I think it's mohair, but regardless, I just have a deep, passionate, overwhelming love for mohair that I'm pretty sure I've mentioned multiple times on this channel before. The sheer amount of screen time I currently have from scrolling on Depop trying to find myself the perfect vintage mohair cardigan. I especially want one in a fun color. This is just something to me where I'm like, it is not in my wardrobe, and I feel like I'm suffering because of that. LOL, I love how my last video was talking about not buying stuff, and now I'm just here like, so I need to add this to my wardrobe and this to my wardrobe and this and that and this. It's really that perfect combination of just like a fun statement texture with a fun statement color, and it's lighting up all of the pleasure sensors of my fun statement brain, and I'm envisioning it with like jeans and throwing it over a t-shirt, but also with a little slip dress and a ballet flat. I just can't wait to get my hands on one. I can't wait until I finally hit buy with all of the mohair cardigans I'm adding to my cart on Depop. We'll see which one is eventually the winner. Paint splatters on clothing. And yes, I am saying this while wearing a pair of overalls that is covered in paint splatters. I am nothing if not consistent. I don't think there's ever been a time that I've worn these overalls out and wasn't asked by a stranger if I painted for a living, which I mean, I take as a compliment and also hilarious. You think I do manual labor for a living? I mean, look, don't make assumptions, but what I actually do for a living is just sitting in my room talking about fashion and giving my opinion, hoping there's people willing to listen. Yeah. That's comedy right there. For me, this really just feels like kind of the evolution and next step of my love of very worn in distressed clothing. I've already been with the rips and the tears and the intentional stains, so it only makes sense that clothing covered in paint would be where this goes. Not for nothing though, I did actually paint while wearing these. It was the wall behind me. I was touching up some of the holes that I had created in the wall and spackled and needed to paint over, and I put these on while doing that. So it is sort of, I am a painter of sorts. Any sort of halter top style neckline silhouette I've been really into. I mean, it's kind of par for the course as someone who loves vintage 70s fashion so much, and halter tops were really big during that time. I got a few different vintage dresses. I think they're all from the 70s that are maxi length, but they have halter style necklines, and for me, I have found that that is my favorite style with especially maxi dresses, because you have like all of the bottom half of you completely covered, and sometimes when the top is completely covered, I can feel a little bit Amish, a little bit Pentecostal. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just not my thing. And so having this halter neckline that's like completely exposed back and completely almost exposing my A cups, it just creates this nice contrast for me. It's like also the one time where I feel like I kind of have something going on, like usually the little triangles and you pull it, we're working with something. We're trying to create cleavage out of like truly nothing, but doing our best. So it does seem as though we are currently in a polka dot takeover. I cannot escape them on my social media, nor do I want to. I am a polka dot truther. I love them. I was wearing them all last year, and I noticed a lot of other people start to wear them as well. I think we're only gonna keep seeing them in 2025. I know I said this wasn't a trend prediction video, but some things I'm like, we gotta say the obvious, because I know y'all can't escape outfits involving polka dots on your social media either. There's something so uniquely just like cute and precious and also sort of flirty about polka dots that I don't feel like other patterns emulate. Like whenever I see an outfit that features polka dots, no matter if it's somebody doing a more maximalist, like really colorful, maybe mixing a polka dot with another polka dot, or it's like a simple all black look with a polka dot little scarf tied around the back, I'm like, that's flirty. You are so cheeky. Like, you know what I mean? You get the vibe. There's so many different avenues you can go down with styling polka dots as well. I feel like they're really versatile for a ton of different styles. We have like the 40s, 50s pinup look. You can do something more 60s mod, early 70s. We also have the kind of minimalist, sleek 90s, but also 2010s tweed. Like truly, the opportunities are endless. Very honorable mention to the Realization Par Claudia red and white polka dot dress. If you know, you know. You may have seen me wear this dress countless times throughout the past couple of years, and also maybe seen it on your Instagram countless times. They actually stopped selling this dress, but then recently brought it back. So a heads up, I mean, it's not cheap, but it's everything to me, and it also kind of brings me joy that girls on Depop can't now upcharge people like $500 for this dress because they stopped making it and everybody wanted it, and rightfully so because it's really cute. And now I'm like, that's what happens when you do that stuff, okay? Big ol' statement, 7 days of sunglasses. Think Dior, but also Bugs Life. Fun sunglasses have always been really intriguing to me, although it might not seem that way because I literally wear the same pair of vintage dead stock black oval small sunglasses from the 90s with every single one of my outfits, but I want that to change this year. So playful yet really chic, but also super fun, and they have that element of unseriousness to them, which is always an element I love in fashion. And I think that they have this ability to either lean in with an outfit that is already kind of 70s and playful and they just add on top of that, or they can really kind of play up a more simple outfit of just jeans and a t-shirt, but you put the glasses on and they're really doing a lot of the work for you. Fingers crossed I can find my perfect pair of these sunglasses soon. Anytime I see someone wearing them, I'm just like, I'm seething with jealousy. I try not to be a very jealous person, but I'm envious. Or I'm like, I want what you have. Pointel fabric has had me in the tightest of grips as of late, especially as it pertains to my more just like simple wardrobe staples. You take a white t-shirt and you make it in a cotton knit Pointel material, I'm sold immediately. Take my money. I didn't want it that bad anyways. Everyone is gonna have a different need when it comes to their version of an everyday basic wardrobe staple, and for me, I found that where just a plain white cotton t-shirt doesn't do much for me, a plain white cotton Pointel t-shirt does everything for me. Just adds a little something extra. There's a little more sauce there. A kind of je ne sais quoi that I prefer a lot more when thrown on with a pair of jeans versus some other stuff. I mean, I've been liking stuff that's Pointel, but I just see myself only continuing and accumulating even more throughout this next year. And also, it kind of reminds me of how polka dots feel very flirty to me. I feel like Pointel fabric also emulates a very flirty vibe. Maybe this is all just in my head and I'm truly like the delusions of grandeur, but you see the connection and the kind of through line? I'm onto something. Boho chic. Yes, we've made it. I mentioned I'd be talking about this earlier, and I've also mentioned this in countless other videos. It's like, what else is there for me to really say except I am here for boho chic, and I also know a lot of other people are word on the street. I'm hearing rumors, I'm seeing runways of the recent Chloe collection, and it seems as though a boho chic renaissance is upon us. We got the Renaissance, and then we have the boho chic renaissance, and funnily enough, they kind of overlap with some of the styling as well, which I can only imagine is why I enjoy both of them. I'm not even trend predicting at this point, like the trend is fully here, it's arrived, I'm just acknowledging its existence and the fact that it has so many elements of just like the colors, the textures, the silhouettes. It's bold, it's playful, it's eclectic, it's maximalist, all things that I love and that make up my style, but I also want to play around with even more and lean into even more this year. Getting to know the history behind my clothing, becoming essentially just like a fashion historian or fashion herstory, if you will. I've loved thrifting, secondhand shopping, vintage fashion since I was little, but it really wasn't until 2024 that I got super into learning the history behind, especially when it comes to like 70s and before, and really antique. I mean, I'm buying a 100-year-old Edwardian dress. Why don't I learn the history of Edwardian dresses and who was wearing them and why they were worn and the companies making them and why they made certain materials and seemed to mainly make them in white and the reasoning behind that and where they were sold and why we stopped making them. Even if you're somebody who's not really into vintage, it can still be fun to learn where your clothing comes from, although it might be, depending on where you shop, scary, harrowing, nauseating, but still like important. Not only has it helped me with appreciating my clothing from both a design and manufacturing perspective with all of the labor and artistry that goes into clothes, but it also is so cool to think about all of the life that was lived in this item potentially before it came to me, and I now get to experience new life with this. And it's also just fun when you know the history, if there is a rich history about an article of clothing that you're wearing. If somebody happens to compliment your outfit, you can then like tell that to them, which is maybe like insufferable and annoying and pretentious, but I mean, guilty as charged. So I know this is already a thing I've talked about in previous videos, but I'm hoping if I repeat myself enough, it'll really start to like infiltrate some of your minds, and you'll just like hear my voice and the things that I'm repeating just over and over again until you finally do it. I'm brainwashing you. And that's actually the point of this channel, is complete and total takeover of your mind. Yes. Well, on that note, I think that's going to be it for this video. 2025 has certainly been off to an interesting start. Some good, mostly, yeah, majority pretty bad, but I'm hoping maybe this could be a positive and something to get you excited and look forward to. I know it definitely kind of put some much needed pep in my step. Let me know any of the fashion things that you are currently loving and really excited about for this year. And like always, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Stay sexy, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!